I'd like to take this opportunity to explain how our Australian raw sugar mills worked in the old days. I must apologise for the graphics. PowerPoint and computers weren't invented in those days. But basically, the way a sugar mill takes sugar cane in and turns it into raw sugar. Now, the departments that were involved were the engineers, the chemists, tramway and transport, and of course the admins for the office areas. I want to mainly focus on the engineers and chemists, so I'll get the others out of the road. The tramway and transport was in charge of the locos, bins, the navvies that repaired the line, rail maintenance and cane inspectors. The office was quite small, but the general manager was either a former chief chemist or chief engineer. And they did all the admin, payroll, the accounts and the cane pay back to the farmers. But the two powerhouse departments were the engineers and the chemists. And they were traditional rivals because these guys were very mechanical and these guys were, a little bit mad scientists. So let's focus on the engineers first. They were responsible for the cane yard where the bins would come in, the weighbridge and tippler where it was all weighed, the shredder, a big machine that pulverised the cane, the milling train where all of the cane was squashed and the juice would come out, and the boiler house, which provided all the power and steam as it burnt the bagasse, which was the spent cane. And of course, all the maintenance and the breakdowns were to do with the engineers. They also controlled the store, looked after the apprentices who mucked around a lot, and the tradesmen. Once the juice left the milling train, it was the chemists. And they were in control of the lab and cane payment, juice handling, the clarification, the mud filters where the mud's taken out. They'd concentrate in the evaporators, pan stage, fugals where the sugar and molasses was separated, and then the sugar handling, the dryers, the hoppers and the trucks going to the terminal. I've done the tramway, haven't I? Anyway, let's focus on these two. Now, if a young chemist was found over here in the milling train or something, they go, what the heck are you doing here? And vice versa. We were pretty guarded about it all. And anyway, it was a formula that worked well. And now everyone's got fancy names, but the roles have sort of changed. And instead of the general manager being a former chief engineer or chief chemist, they're now accountants. And a few other major things have happened. There's no longer the shift engineer and the shift chemist. They've got a shift supervisor, generally often a chemical engineer graduate, because they figured chem and eng, let's get a chem eng guy, which is fine. And after 10 years, he'll do a good job. But to start with, he's a uni grad. And the toilet cleaner probably knows more about breakdowns than that. So anyway, this just gives you an understanding, and this is probably the first of a few things where I try to explain the old model of the Australian sugar mill.